Let's look at the preferences dialog box, which does not seem very exciting, but it is pretty important. Here we can change our language, follow behavior. That's like when this is going forward, is this going to follow it or is it going to page? Hide labels, no idea what that does. Permanent scrub areas, no idea what that does. Zoom display, we can adjust for, like, if we're having a live performance and you want it to be much bigger. Different skins, choose your favorite. I would recommend tobacco because it's delicious. Auto assign clip colors, multiple plugin windows. Now this is important because let's say you have got this plugin and now let's add another plugin. Let's go to create, insert MIDI track and put in easy mix. So we can't see those at the same time. So that's because I had auto hide plugin windows. So whatever channel we're on is only going to show us the plugins that are on that specific channel. So multiple plugin windows allows us to have more than one plugin window open at a time, and auto hide makes sure just the one that the current channel is focused on is up. So if you have a lot of them, it's a good way to sort through them. But some people want to have them all across the screen, and you can see right here the name of the channel that it's on, if that's how you want to manage that. And then auto open plugin custom editor. That means when you load the plugin, is it going to actually pop up or is it just going to have this live thing? So I usually roll with all of these on. And okay, let's go to the audio tab. This is where you select your driver. This is your input and output. So this is where you're going to set up your audio card. Sample rate, yeah, that's what it is. People with fast computers should click this. It's going to sound nicer. This is your buffer size, drive error compensation. If you have latency, you can use that to compensate. This is for testing. It's not really useful. This is where you set up your different MIDI control surfaces. This is where you save your default set. So you, like if you make a bunch of changes, you can hit save, and it's going to create that. Every time you open it, that's the set you're going to open up. So if you like add a bunch of channels or whatever, you can do that. Create analysis file. When you warp something, when you drag it back in, it'll reference the analysis file that creates, so you don't have to warp it again. They're very small. I just keep it on. Sample editor, you can edit with, you know, Audacity or something different. This is your temporary folder for stuff. Minimum cache or maximum size, I have about 3 gigs, so that way it's like decoding it. MP3s, that's an important thing. It doesn't run MP3s natively, so if you put a bunch of MP3s in there, you're going to create a lot of large WAV files or AIF files. But I've limited mine to 2.9 gig, and I have no idea what's in there, so I just deleted all those things, and this is where you can see all of those. But I just deleted them. Yeah. Okay, rescan plugins. Anytime you install a plugin, you're going to want to rescan so that it shows you all of your plugins. Use audio units. This is a setting where your folders are going to be. This needs to be a custom one. Automatic rescan on each search. Now, I used to use the search in Ableton. It's Command-Shift-F, or you can click that bugger right there. So if I wanted to like see all my delay presets, but I don't know, dude, it's just not. Yeah, so like I said, I used it for a while, but I don't anymore. And every time you search, it can rescan your library. That's going to slow it down, but it's always going to keep it up to date. So there you go. Collect files on export. Always. I don't remember what that does. Okay, so let's go to file type. I use WAV. Most Apple computers would use AFF, but just whatever, bit depth. That's just for speed, and you know, I can't hear the difference. Count in. This is if you like don't want to have pre-roll in your session. So if I wanted to start recording right here, and you can see the playhead right there, the pulsating thing. Right now we can hear the click, and that would get my lead in. But here, if you want to have an actual lead in, that is right here, so 1 bar. And so now when I hit record and play, it's not actually going to start until that 1 bar has passed. So if you want to hit record and then grab your instrument, I usually just use pre-roll. That's how I roll. Arm and exclusive solo, so now I cannot have more than 1 track armed, but if I hold command, I can get rid of that. So that's usually, I have these exclusive, and then I just use command to have more than 1. I'm using command comma to bring this up. You should remember that. Clip update rate. I don't remember exactly what that does. It's the rate at which live updates are running clip settings. So if you hover over here, it's going to tell you what it is down in the lower left-hand corner. So yeah, you can just, I suppose you could go through and read all those, but maybe it's helpful for me to tell you how I use it. Auto warp short samples. I have no problem with that. Long samples, I don't want it to, because I'm going to warp those manually. So like if it's a long sample, like an entire song, live usually is not going to do a great job of warping everything perfectly. So I take that off. It takes less time to get into live, and then I can warp it on my own. Default warp mode, beats. Now this is given live, some say, a bad name because the beats mode does not sound as good. However, if you're dropping in drum loops and stuff, it's perfect. If you want to use complex, all the warping is going to sound better with like less artifacts and stuff like that. But normally what I do is I leave it on beats, and if it doesn't sound good, I'll change the actual warp mode here to complex or complex pro. Create fades on clip edges. Why wouldn't I have that on? Well, okay, so that's to stop little pops and clicks. I totally thought I had that on. Launch mode, trigger. Read about the launch modes. Quantization is global. Select on launch. These all have to do with launching clips here. Which if I double click, I can create a clip. And so, yeah, let's talk about the session view later. But what that really means is when I launch a clip, it's going to bring that up into my focus. Select next scene on launch has to do with anytime I see how a cursor moves down. Cool. Start recording on scene launch. Well, we just saw that happen because we have all these clips that I recorded from pressing enter. And if we take that off, you can't actually record using a scene. And there are different reasons for these to be on or off. Yeah, just turn it on. I mean, if you can use it, and then that's, yeah, I don't really mess around with that stuff. And the library, here's where you can change the location or repair it. You can see the different live packs that you have selected. Okay, remember that you can go and read what these really do, but that was my real world explanation for some of them. Okay, let's just permanent scrub area. When enabled, the lower portion of the beat time ruler for both clips in the arrangement is a scrub area. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, that is good.